Hi, I'm Murphy Henry.
Hi, I'm Casey Henry.
Welcome to the Murphy Method. Today we're going to be talking about how do you find what key you sing a particular song in. And the reason we've chosen this subject is so many people that come to the world of bluegrass think they can't sing bluegrass because they've been told they can't sing bluegrass, or when they're in a jam session it just doesn't sound right when they're trying to sing along. What's usually the problem is you're not singing in the key that is best for you for that song. So we're going to demonstrate how you might go about finding that key. And we're just going to start here in the key of G with a very familiar song, Will the Circle Be Unbroken? And show you how we'll land finally in a key that's good for us. So Casey and I don't sing a lot of songs in the key of G. So this will be really, really low. But when it's really low like that and doesn't feel good for your voice, that means it's not your key. Try something else. Okay, here we go. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. So you can hear on that really lowest note in the song, my voice just doesn't have it. Okay, so that tells me that this key is too low for me. So now, instead of just saying, oh, let me pick an arbitrary key and go somewhere else, we're going to be very methodical about this. After all, this is the Murphy method. So we're going to take the capo and we're going to put it here on the 2nd fret, which means since we're playing out of G, C, and D shapes, this is the key of A. Okay, that's a higher key now. You can hear. And so we're just going to sing that same chorus again, and you'll see that this is a slightly better key for us, okay? Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. So that's a much better key. And probably, if we were sitting down in a jam session or sitting down as we're doing this video, we might even choose to sing in that key, but it's still pretty low. So we're going to go up the neck again. We're going to skip B flat just because of time constraints, and we're going to go to the key of B, which that's capoed up 4 frets, still playing out of the G, C, and D shapes. And this is closer to a key that feels good for us. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. Much better key. You can hear that. Now, when we got to the high note, I could feel my voice wanting to waver a little or wanting to shift up into my head voice, that kind of thin voice that we all have. But still, B is a pretty good key. Let's go up 1 more fret here, and this takes us to the key of C. Now, just because I've sung this song so many times and Casey sung this song so many times, I know that this is my best stage key for singing this song. So if I'm on stage and going to sing Will the Circle Be Unbroken, I'm going to sing it in the key of C. Sitting down, you're going to hear that it's going to be a little bit of a strain to hit that highest note, and I'll probably have to shift into my head voice. But on the other hand, I might take a big gulp of air and hit it full strength. We will see. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. I hit it. Big gulp of air. Okay, key of C. So that is a really good key for Casey and me to sing in. Now, Casey and I both have voices that are in a similar range. Your voice a little higher than mine, maybe?
A little bit.
Just a little bit. Okay, so now we're going to shift into the next higher key, which will be the key of D. Now, we could actually capo up 7 frets, like Earl Scruggs did when he played that Flower song, but we're not. So I like to play in the key of open D, so I'm taking the capo off, and we're going to be playing in D, like this. Now, you'll hear that this gets too high for me, and is it going to be too high for you, Casey?
We'll see.
We will see, okay. Okay, here we go. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. Okay, now what I heard from this end was me shifting up to my head voice, that thin voice there where you have that little break in your voice, and Casey hit it full on.
I did.
Yeah. So, you might be asking the question, now this is all very interesting to hear y'all do this, but, how am I really going to know? Well, one thing that I noticed here in the key of D, I'm really uncomfortable in this key. I mean, I feel like I'm straining. It kind of hurts my throat. It kind of hurts my chest. And that's not a good feeling. So if you're trying to key and that's the way you're feeling, that's probably not the right key for you. Okay, key of D. Okay, now we're going to travel up to the key of E, and I'm going to do that by putting on my capo at the 2nd fret and still playing out of these same D shapes. You could play it in open E, if you want to, but then, of course, you have to play that B7 chord, and that's really not one of my better chords on the guitar, so I'm just going to keep it simple. All right, here we go. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. You can tell by my pained face that is really too high for me to sing. You were hitting it all in your regular voice, weren't you?
No, those high notes I flipped to my head voice.
Oh, you flipped your head voice. Okay. So that's not a good key for me. Now I'm going to do one more thing. We didn't really talk about this, Casey, but let's go back to the key of G for a second. Okay, so we're going to go open, because what we found out in our women's bluegrass camp is when we were doing the same exercise, there are some women who have really high voices, the high soprano voices they sing about in the songs, and can actually sing in the key of G in a really high voice. Okay, now this is really, really, really not our key, but I want to make that open to you so that you understand that this is an okay key for you to sing in if you have a really high voice. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better...
This is too high.
Okay. You're not going to go for it? There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. Okay, so I do sound sort of like a chipmunk there. But I just wanted to make sure you understand that that's okay. And that does put you an octave higher than where many of the men who sing bluegrass would sing this song in the key of G. So you're an octave higher, and if they look at you funny and say, that's too high, or they give you, some sort of look, I'll just say that's where I sing the song, and that's perfectly okay. So we hope that gives you an idea of finding your key in a methodical way. Start in G, or if G is too low, start in A, and just move up the fingerboard until you find a key that feels comfortable to you. Now, we haven't said anything about singing harmony, and that's a whole nother subject, but when you're in a bluegrass band, deciding on what key you want to sing the lead in sometimes means you have to fit it into the harmony. The harmony parts have to fit around the lead, so you have to do that sort of, let's all come together and see who's going to sing the lead and how we're going to make the harmony sounds better. But that's a whole nother video.
And it is also worth mentioning that just because a particular key is good for this song, say you sing it in C as your best key, C is not necessarily going to be the best key for any other song. Each song kind of has its own range where the melody sits, and so you may sing a lot of songs in C, but there may be some that you sing in a totally different key, like G or A. So you kind of have to go through this process with every song until you get a feel for what keys are your best keys.
And just one more little thing here. Because Casey and I are women and we have women's voices, this little video is directed mostly to women. But men often sing in the same key that women do, but just an octave lower. So even though many of the men in your Bluegrass jam session sing in G and A, you may be a man who sings best in the key of C or the key of D or the key of E. So don't be afraid to experiment with those keys. We just can't sing in that low voice to give you an exact example of that.
Yeah.
That about cover it, Case?
I think so.
All right. And there you have it. Will the circle be unbroken in 6 different keys?